I just wanted to do a quick review on a new bit of kit that's come through. I'm fairly new into my video. I've been a photographer for 12 years, but I'm getting excited. I've got a 5D Mark 1, 2 and 3. But certainly with the 2 and the 3, starting getting into video and building up some kit around me really. So SLR coaching on the whole is photography tutorials and kit reviews, but there's a few video ones I just thought actually you're probably going to be looking going, oh, what's that kit he's using? So while it's all nice and fresh, here's what I've got. So what I wanted was one of these sliders. I love the effect, and I'll show you an example in a minute. When this slider comes, it just pans along nicely. The thing I think as a photographer is trying to get used to this being a moving image. Now I did look and I really liked some of the very small units, and I thought, why do I need one of these great big ones? Because I know that actually probably a 2-second cut is all I'm going to do, and it may well be just the travel from there to there, and that's all I'm going to use. But I do actually, one of the main reasons I bought this is I was looking at jibs as well, the kind of the platform or the arms that come up like this. And I reckon that I can do a similar thing with this without another bit of kit. I'll come on to that in a second. But this was just £86 on Amazon. It's the Tarion model. Had a lot of good reviews. And actually I think it flows really nicely on here. There is like a clutch on here that locks it in place. Now I don't think the idea is that you do it and apply some pressure. It's not like a fluid head on a tripod. I'm personally taking this right off, so it's a very free flowing movement on there. Now you need something else to go with this. That's not enough on its own. I can't just put my camera straight onto here. So you need something like a head like this, which I've already got. So I can thread that straight onto here. This is just a ball joint head on here. I'll put a link to this one. I'll put a link to some other ones. This is a Manfrotto one. You can get a cheaper one. Okay, make sure that's nice and sturdy in place, and then I can adjust this to get my angle. Another thing that might be worth getting is a little spirit level bubble on here to make sure that you're level. But now you can see my camera's going to come along there quite nicely. And I don't think there's a lot of movement on that at all. I'm very impressed with that. And in terms of getting a nice steady, I mean, that runs perfectly. I can't think what could be wrong with that. What I've found myself doing is just keeping my fingers actually on here as it's going and just making sure that is nice and steady. Now that seems a really nice flow to me as it is already. I'm just putting my fingers either side of this and using them a little bit as a clutch and as a guide. I mean, that's what you're going to do anyway, but it's just, that feels quite nice and easy for me just to hold it, slide it across. So we can do a left and a right pan. I can turn this around so that I'm pointing towards my subject and then I'm zooming in towards it. And this is the thing. So at the minute we're on a table here. Now there is a screw in here for this to go onto a tripod. Now this really is where this clutch comes in, is that while you're moving it or doing anything, I want to lock that down. I don't want that to move anywhere. But I know full well from experience that me to try and stick this on one tripod, we're going to get some movement. It's going to be doing this as I'm going through. But this has got, as you can see, maybe there, holes all the way along here. And one of the other products that I've just had was some lights, and with the lights came a couple of light stands. And guess what I'm going to be using these for? Now let me just demonstrate how well this works. I reckon that's probably the set I'll use. But I put that in again, put a spirit level just on here to make sure that we're right. And now I'm off the table, so I could be off on site using this. I can have this set up high. I can use it right down near the ground. But now the same thing's going to happen and travel along here. and that's actually quite easy for me to move around and take from area to area as I'm using this. Okay, now the thing that I really like this for, the reason I went for this 1.2 meter width, if I take this off, let me demonstrate. What I can do with this is I can set this on an angle. So I can put one part on the floor, one up here, and then by turning this ball head around, I can actually use this to get this kind of angle. I can either lean that against something and use it. You can see that kind of view as to what that's going to be. You know, that angle that comes up from down here, and suddenly a view becomes obvious. What I'm going to be doing is using this like this. I've already attached on the back of here another of my quick release plates, and on the other end here I'm going to put on my light stand. And what this will allow me to do so I get my height right. And remember to keep locking this plate off, else you're going to lose your camera. So that's now standing on the floor, and it's coming up here, and it's I've got that secure now as a rig, that when I release this, look, a nice steady working position there. Again, I can come around here, put my spirit level on the top to make sure I'm level. Look at that, that's going to give me some awesome angles. I don't particularly want 1.2 meters as a width, but I do want this functionality. I think this is going to start appearing in a lot of my footage. In fact, I'm going to give you a quick show now as to how this can work. So that is my Tarion 1.2 meter slider, which is going to take on a lot of other things than just doing the sliding. So I'm keen to use a field monitor. I don't like the small 3-inch screen on the back of here. I've got a much nicer 7-inch display on the back of here that I just power up, use through here with the HDMI lead. Now it can sit on the top of here, but what I'm finding is it does make this a little bit more top heavy. It doesn't like having the extra weight on, understandably. So I can either attach it, I've got like one of these magic arms, which I use quite a bit. I could attach that over here to the end of this, and I could put my monitor on it, and with a lead between the two, you'd be able to see these working. Yeah, so as that's going, but you've got a bit of cable, not a huge fan of that. What I've actually done is this fits quite nicely onto here. Let's take the camera out of the way first. I'm getting a bit caught up here. So I can fit this onto, there's holes and threads all over this, giving you lots of options. So I can pop that on there. I can pop my camera back in place. And then look what we've done. We've just put a field monitor sitting at the side of the camera. That will now sit along the side of my camera, sliding along. I've got a nice screen on there. Because it's not sitting on the top, that's not really made that any more wobbly or unstable. Again, I'm going to hold it on the here just to let it go nice and steady. But I think that's fantastic. No extra cables hanging around. They're all just staying in. This is exactly how I'll be using it. So if you're interested in this, I will have some links on here, but I am doing a review purely on this display. But anyway, let's show you some footage. That's what you're waiting to see. Thanks very much for watching.